When we reach very high in our career, at that time it happens that we start realizing that even though we have reached quite far away, we have earned a lot of money, but there are many things that we have left behind. It could be health, it could be family, it could be connection with the society. Today, I'm going to talk about ESG, environmental, social, and governance. By the time this video will end, you will understand what exactly is the meaning of ESG, why it is important, what are the challenges that industry is facing, and how the industry is implementing ESG in their organizations. Well, in general, often we are hearing this word about sustainability reporting and corporate social responsibility, and they are very important. Many times we think that ESG and these are exactly the same thing. But broadly, when we talk about sustainability reporting and when we talk about the corporate social responsibility, primarily the other philosophies that we need to understand and implement. But when we talk about ESG, primarily they are talking about the metrics that what organization is doing with respect to environment, social, and the governance. So let's understand all these three terminologies. The first terminology is talking about environment or environmental. So here the intent is that apart from the profit, apart from looking into that what the financial condition is with the organization, what that organization is doing with respect to the environmental norms, whether they are taking care about all the other aspects which is impacting the nature or not. And there are many parameters through which it can be monitored. So, for example, the first can be the climate change and the carbon emissions. Like many companies have taken a target of net zero carbon. Then another indicator can be with respect to waste management, wherein some companies are taking a target that there will be zero discharge to landfill. Then another indicator, which is very interesting, is with respect to the water management, wherein the companies are talking that we'll have water positive or maybe there will be zero discharge. And similarly, there can be some other indicators which can talk about biodiversity and conservation, wherein companies are taking the initiative that how they can recover the forest, what we can do so that the agricultural land can be utilized much more effectively. And similarly, another indicator could be with respect to the renewable energy usage, that how the companies are using solar, wind, and other renewable energy so that they can make sure that they are using the fossil fuel as less as possible. The second one is talking about society. Now, here the intent is that apart from whatever organization is doing with respect to running the organization, what are they doing with respect to their shareholders, their other stakeholders who are maybe customers, suppliers, employees, maybe the people who are living in society, what kind of support they are doing with respect to that. And there are again many indicators so that organization can see what they are doing with respect to society. So, for example, the indicator can be about the employee well-being. It can be with respect to the fair wages, say working condition, the employee benefits. There's a specific standard SC 8000 which is talking with respect to that. Then diversity and inclusion. Now here the intent is that what organization is doing with respect to their gender diversity, with respect to giving equal opportunity to each and every person. Again, there is a specific standard ISO 30415 which is talking more with respect to diversity and inclusion. Then apart from some other indicators could be with respect to human rights, about community engagement, and with respect to customer satisfaction and safety, wherein the intent is that how much customer is satisfied and how we are making sure that the people who are working in the organization, they are safe and the organization is giving the right work environment so that there is very less possibility of any accident which is there. Then the third indicator is talking with respect to the regulation or the governance. So here the intent is that whatever organization is doing to earn the profit, are they making sure that they have the right governance policy in place for both for the shareholders as well as for the stakeholders. And there are different ways in which it can be done. So, for example, it could be as simple as talking with respect to the board composition, that whether we have the independent directors, the gender diversity is being maintained, say with respect to the women director or not. The second aspect is with respect to transparency and accountability, that how organization is making sure that the annual sustainability report is being published and it is made available to people so that they can see what organization is doing with respect to that. Then another thing could be with respect to the anti-corruption policies, that what are the steps organization is taking to prevent any fraud, bribery, or any unethical conduct. There is a specific standard called ISO 37001 which talks specifically with respect to that. Then some other indicators which can talk more with respect to the governance can be with respect to the executive compensation, how we are linking the salary or the payment of the executive with respect to the ESG performance and other things. And the last could be with respect to the stakeholders' rights, that how we are making sure that the stakeholders, like the people who have purchased the shares, that what kind of rights they are having, whether they are getting the right information, whether they are getting the right with respect to the voting or not. Now, when we talk about ESG, it's also important to understand that why it is important at this particular time for all the different kind of businesses. So there can be many different reasons with respect to that. The first and the foremost is primarily with respect to making sure about the sustainability and the risk management. Because once an organization effectively and systematically implements the principles of ESG. So they are making sure that they are working something with respect to mitigating the risk related to environmental damage, poor labor practice, or maybe the unethical governance. Then certainly it raises the confidence in the mind of the investors, because investors feel that this is the right company wherein they can invest. Sometimes there are some regulatory compliance also. Each country, or in fact many countries, have their own compliance mechanism to see that how effective the principles of ESG are maintained. So for example, if I talk in context of India, SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India, they identified that the top 1000 companies which are listed in the stock exchange, they need to produce that ESG report every year. And then they call this particular report as BRSR. And the BRSR stands with respect to business responsibility and sustainability report, wherein the companies have to give the detailed information with respect to environmental concepts, social, and the governance. Then there can be some more thing with respect to knowing that how that importance is being maintained. It can be with respect to employee and customer engagement, with respect to that what the companies are doing with respect to the ethical business practices. That brings another important point, that what are the challenges that industry is facing with respect to implementation of ESG. The first and the foremost challenge that the industry is facing with respect to that is about the lack of awareness and understanding. Still, not many companies are very clear, even though there is a possibility that their customer or maybe some other rules and guidelines are demanding that they need to publish the sustainability reporting. Then the second important challenge is with respect to the data collection, reporting, and the transparency, that whether we can trust that data or not. That's a very big challenge. Then another big challenge is with respect to the cost, because when we are implementing certain guidelines, certain rules, then it involves certain cost. That then the organization feels that who is going to bear that particular cost. That becomes another important challenge. So if I do a summary, I talked about the three concepts with respect to environmental, social, and governance. Then I talked with respect to the importance of ESG. And then finally, I talked about the key challenges that the industry is facing with respect to implementation of ESG. My next video will again be in line, and I am going to talk more with respect to ESG. Regularly, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side, and they're helping me to understand your expectation. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand more about this particular video, you'll find a link there. If you click that, you'll find a blog there, and there you find more information about this particular video. And in case you're liking these kind of blogs and videos, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.